Okay. So I don't know how much you know about like past wars. I imagine you probably know more than like I would, and this is why I would ask you this. Because I know like the U.S. is like pulling troops out of like other places, and like I was saying before, like Vietnam's one of them. Do you see any like similarities, whether it's like negative or positive similarities from the removal of troops from uh, the Afghan War and the Vietnam War, or like backlash maybe from the citizens, or and was anything like similar that you can think of?
No, it's extremely similar because you can't sit there and advertise, hey, Afghanis, we're done. We give up on you guys. We're gonna pull everybody out of there. Because once you do that, you're starting to lose hope from everybody, and there's going to be backlash from all sides, especially from the people that are relying on you. And that did happen, but it happened toward the end. It was very last minute. I mean, it wasn't advertised well in advance, which I'm glad they didn't do that, but I'm still upset at the way that they pulled out of there because they should have left a force behind to help out.
Because I know like one of the main things like I remember seeing, from not just like looking into it, but just from like a view from, I guess, an everyday citizen, someone who's not really focusing too much on the war, was like, how people were like clinging onto planes and trying to, leave in that way.
Yeah.
Do you? I know this might be like a little bit more broad question, but do you think we lost per se, or do you feel like we lost this war? And
No, yeah, I definitely feel like we lost the war.
and
Because I look at it like Vietnam, because you talk about the pullout and stuff, and Vietnam was the same exact thing that I remember watching. I mean, I didn't really watch the stuff in the news, but I remember when I was in school and learning about it. And the last images you see of people leaving Vietnam are hanging off the helicopter on the second story as they're leaving, like the embassy.
so the exact same,
It's like the exact same thing, except instead of a helicopter, now it's a C-17 as they're all trying to hang on to the C-17 as it leaves the airfield.
Okay.
Same exact situation. It was like a last minute pull out. Hey, we're not going to win this thing, and we got to get out of here.
So would you say like the loss for both of those was extremely similar?
Yeah, it was very similar
Okay.
because it was politically driven. Um, if if it would have been a different um, a different president and presidential staff in the White House at that time, I'm still pretty sure we would have pulled out of Afghanistan, but it wouldn't have been that dramatic. It wouldn't have been so abrupt.
Okay.
I think it would have been handled a lot better if it was somebody else.
Okay. I have a question. Would you say like, because I know obviously you were in the military. Would you say like you've seen, or maybe you yourself kind of lost faith in the U.S. like government when it comes to like war in general? Because obviously I know Vietnam wasn't one of like the last wars we were in, because we're fighting constantly, we're doing like a lot. But like some like the last few, or like the this war Afghanistan and the one Vietnam, it feels like we lost, and do you feel like people, or like I guess the U.S. citizens or people who were in the military, kind of lost hope?
What I feel, and I think what a lot of people fail to understand when it comes to the military is we are not a force designed to build a democracy, to help build infrastructure and help a nation become a civilized entity. We're not designed to do that. We're designed to fight in battles and win. And do I feel comfortable that if we go to war, we're going to win? Absolutely. I mean, I still fully believe we're the best military in the world. And Afghanistan and Iraq, as miserable as those wars were when it comes to
The fighting and
yeah, no,
so,
the fighting was. I mean, there's nothing good about going to war and harming other people, but we are very good at that. We've fought a lot of battles. When it comes to the fighting, hands down, nobody can touch us. We're great. When it comes to playing a civilized role and trying to help
Like the
build a democracy, that's not our job. And we're not good at that. We don't have the patience for that. And that's where I believe the United States failed, is they didn't get the right people to initially do that. And not only that, but they didn't get the right people to stay there and continue doing that, to help out people and to help build a society or build a something that people can say, hey, this is my home, I want to live here. You know,
Okay.
you can't use a military to do that.
Okay. Would you say, like I said before, like is that extremely similar to how you feel about like Vietnam,
Yeah, it's the same thing for Vietnam.
where we fought very well and we're really good in that regard, but when it came to help build or like de-corrupt their like system or like their society, it's just we fall short.
Yeah, we fall short.
Okay. Okay.
That's not our job, and I don't honestly know whose job it is, but it's not the job of an infantryman, you know, who's some kid right out of high school that all he wants to do is, you know, go to war, and that's not all he wants to do, but he's not trained mentally or physically or academically to
build this society.
build a society. He's
Okay.
barely trained well enough to go fight and use a rifle and stay alive and, you know, win on the
Okay.
battlefield. That's what they're trained to do. They're not trained to
Would you-
help westernize somebody.
Would you say like our, because you're saying like how like kind of like the problem or like the place where we fall short is like with us trying to westernize or build democracy, does that kind of fall a little bit to our government, like whether that's our president, the Senate, or
It does. It falls. I mean,
House.
that's their job. They're politicians. That's their job to do, to figure out what resources they have available within the Department of Defense or other contract agencies. I mean, there's millions of people out there that are willing to help and do that stuff. That's what they're designed to do. That's what the American Red Cross does. There's other agencies out there that do those types of things. You know,
okay,
like FEMA, and like there's millions of dollars and stuff assigned to agencies that are. That's what they do.
They
you know.
aid.
They help provide aid and they help rebuild everything, and those are the types of people that should be helping when it comes down to, hey, we want to try to help your government or your country out and leave it in good standing before we leave you guys alone.
okay.